Good afternoon, everybody. I am so sorry I'm late. My apologies. The time skipped by. How are you guys doing today? My name is Jason Krutzky. It's a pleasure to be here with you again for yet another office hours session. Holy moly, we've done 3 of them. This is the 3rd this week. And it's going to be a doozy today. We've got Meta earnings, we've got Apple earnings, and we've got Amazon earnings. And we got to assume that markets are going to have, this is a big day and potentially an inflection point in the markets. You know, yesterday we watched Jerome Powell. He, of course, as everybody anticipated. Good afternoon, Chris Goda. Good afternoon, Basil. Hopefully you're well, or Basel, perhaps. We watched Powell's presser yesterday. Obviously, they did not decrease rates. They did not do any rate cuts yesterday. And not only that, but they kind of took it off the table for March too. The markets did not like the sound of that, and they did sell off into the end of the day. But they managed to catch a bid. I'm going to pop over to the Qs real quick. They managed to catch a bid overnight. And it's been up only ever since, really, from this morning, since the overnight session. Kind of off of the lows yesterday. It's kind of been up only ever since. And so, what are they going to do from here? It's very hard to tell what they're going to do from here. I'm not trying to make any assumptions, but, I figured if we're going to sit and watch the earnings reaction for all of those names today, that we should probably take a moment and go through them. We did this on Tuesday as well. We kind of talked about just kind of what had been going on up to this point. We looked into seasonality. So let's just go ahead and kind of like recap what we talked about on Tuesday now for Apple and for Amazon and for Google is kind of where my head was at. Historically speaking, February is just kind of a meh month. There's nothing much to say there. When you look back all the way in time on Apple, like you guys saw, I like to kind of take a more near-term approach sometimes with seasonality. So this is filtering just the past 10 years. And, seasonally over the past decade, Apple's actually performed pretty decent in February's. I almost want to say it's the best performer of the bunch, but we'll have to go and take a look. And then I always like to kind of just go back just to the 2020s. So the past couple of years, the past 4 years or so, mediocre February's, past 10 years, the data gets a little bit better. So maybe we'll kind of stick here. Now, we did the earnings run-up scan on Tuesday for anybody who wasn't here. Yeah, Chris, you don't expect a reduction in rates until second half of the year. I think it kind of feels like that's what a lot of the smart people are expecting. I'm not, I can't make any assumptions about what they're going to do, but the idea of 7 interest rate cuts being priced in being expected feels like a lot. Seems like a lot would have to change over the rest of the year to get 7 rate cuts, but who knows? Stranger things have happened. One thing that I wanted to do very quickly here on Apple and on all of these guys, I wanted to, not the scanner, strategy tester. I wanted to run that test and kind of see, how have they performed on this move up to earnings. So again, I'm going to just input that really quick. Oh, you know what? Let me do that. Yeah, that looks a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say earnings dates within the next, let's say 20 days. And let's say we're going to get out of this trade earnings within the next 1 day. And we're going to look back as far as we can. Because again, we're just doing this to try and gauge, how does Apple tend to perform into earnings historically? And how has it performed this time into earnings? How does that compare to like the historical return? So we can see pretty clearly here, your average return going into earnings, 20 days ahead of earnings, is 1.32%. We are at 1.18. So relatively common average performance from Apple coming into this earnings result. So not much to see there. I'm going to go over to Meta next, just to kind of get an understanding, because I think Meta was one that was pretty well ahead of its average return. Yeah, so 20 days out, this thing has returned 5.6% over the last 20 candles. And its average return leading up into earnings is 1.39%. So this thing has well exceeded its average return coming into earnings. That's an interesting point to keep in mind because it's well exceeded it by quite a bit. And remember on Tuesday when we were looking at Microsoft and Google, both Microsoft and Google had exceeded their average run up into earnings by something like 50%. So Meta is well ahead in that regard. Meta is, we're at 5.6, average return 1.3. So you're talking about like 300% more than average in that earnings run up. Kind of interesting. Amazon, let's take a look there. And on Amazon, returned 1.49%, 20 sessions out. Your average return 1.51. So you've got pretty even keel there. Amazon's done pretty much what it tends to do 20 days before its earnings on the run up. And Apple has done what it tends to do 20 days before its earnings run up. And Meta is quite well past that. So that's interesting. I don't know. It's interesting to me. Amazon on the seasonality, February, 55% win rate over the past decade. We could go back and look at all the historical data there. 48% win rate when we include everything. And when we look just a few years out. Then it starts getting a little bit shaky. You tend to have a relatively poor performing February. Not the worst performing month of the year over the past couple of years, but definitely not in the top performing months either. Go back to Meta here. Same look, past 4 years, kind of a lousy February. If we look past 10 years, things got a little bit better, but still second worst performing month of the year. So that's kind of interesting. Like Meta has set up quite in an extreme way, I think. Just based off of that previous earnings run up data, we're well ahead of things. Meta just gained a new all-time high. What, last week or the week before last? Yeah, last week. No, maybe not last week. Sorry, this is the monthly. So yeah, new all-time high last week. Right. So who knows? Maybe this is a potential candidate to kind of take a breather a little bit. It's run up a lot. Februaries tend to be pretty bad. It just gained a new all-time high, and it's got a little doji guy forming on the weekly here. I was checking the raindrop candle just to see if there was a blue raindrop. For anybody who's not familiar with the raindrop candles, we don't talk about these all the time. But they're pretty cool candles. They are volume. They're essentially like volume profiles, right? They're candles that are just volume profiles. So the sides of them represent the volume at price for each half of the time frame. So the left-hand side is the first half of the time frame. The right-hand side is the second half of the time frame. So essentially right now, since this is a weekly candle, you got Monday here, you got Tuesday here. Or no, I'm sorry. You got Monday, Tuesday here, Wednesday, Thursday here. I don't know why I'm thinking it's Tuesday. It's Friday. It's Thursday. But yeah, so we can kind of see the distribution. You can see the volume weighted average price per each half of the time frame is going to be those two horizontal bars. So if the volume weighted average price is decreased over the course of the time frame, you're going to get a red candle. If it's increased over the course of the time frame, you're going to get a green candle. And on occasion, let's see if we can find one. You get these bad boys right here, these blue doji raindrops. And what these represent is a true volume doji. This is where there is true indecision between buyers and sellers. It's a battle because you've got equal VWAPs. So they're kind of just decided that is the fair price. And, they didn't really push price higher and they didn't really push price lower. So it's just indecision. And oftentimes we see these blue raindrops at indecision levels. We tend to see them towards, swing highs and swing lows is kind of the balance that we tend to see with them. And now they don't always appear at every single one, but when they appear, oftentimes it's worth, it's notable and it's worth kind of paying attention to. And you can even scan for these sorts of things, like if you come in here and you choose candlestick patterns, we're going to change our candlesticks to the raindrops. We're going to say weekly, and then we're going to type in blue. So we got weekly blue raindrops here. So actually, let's just see if there's anything forming. I'm kind of curious. We'll just check the S&P 500. Now, as you can probably assume, a weekly blue raindrop is kind of a difficult candle pattern to be forming, right? The bigger the time frame, the more difficult it is for a blue raindrop to form, because it just becomes less and less likely. Price doesn't tend to sit in one spot. It tends to push higher or lower over the course of a week. So to see that there's so many weekly blues here is kind of an interesting thing. It's kind of cool. I'm gonna turn off all my indicators just for a moment, just so we can kind of look and see where they're forming and what names they're forming on. You've got this big basing looking Generac here. KMX, same kind of deal. Dexcom near highs. Ulta breaking out. Nice little flag pattern. So these are definitely interesting ones to watch if you guys are I don't know, if you trade, if you're looking for dojis of any kind, if you're strat traders looking for 2 ups or 2 downs, these blue raindrops can be really cool candles to kind of like be monitoring for that break up or that break down. It's interesting to see that a lot of these are kind of forming at, like, I'm seeing a lot of flagging patterns, whether it's just having broken out like we saw there on Ulta, right? You got that nice little flag breakout, and now you've got one forming, and also one formed kind of right at the end of it too. Not a surprise to see that. But in a lot of these cases, it looks like you're getting like this right here, nice little falling wedge, going a little sideways for a couple of weeks. It's kind of interesting. These can result in relatively powerful moves out of the formation, whether higher or lower. So something to keep in mind, something to keep in your back pocket. If ever you're bored looking for trading opportunities, this to me is like one really cool way of finding, you know, big indecision. We know that indecision oftentimes can lead to protracted moves. Is that the right word? Protracted? Ooh, VLO looking really strong. You could take this a step farther and go up some time frames, like go up to the monthly. I guess it wouldn't make sense to do it right now. You're going to get a lot of them this month. But if we turn this current candle toggle off, actually is another way, another opportunity to teach you guys something. So when you're scanning, by default, this current candle is going to be toggled off. And the reason for that is because we assume that you want to see setups that have completed, right? If this current candle is toggled on, it's going to be looking at the current candle that's forming. Whereas if the current candle is toggled off, it's going to be looking at the most recently closed candle. So because it's February 1st right now, it would make sense if I'm looking for monthly blue raindrops, I'm probably looking for January's. So I can keep this current candle toggled off. The other way that I could go about this if I wanted to is I could turn the current candle toggle on and then define this as having occurred 1 candle ago. It's the exact same definition. I'm defining January and looking for these blue raindrops. So I'm going to keep this turned off and rerun this scan and see if we can't find anything. We got about 10 minutes till earnings come around. So I will be sure to get those on my screen here. I'm just genuinely now kind of curious about what shows up. Oh, Starbucks. Interesting. Starbucks closed monthly blue doji. Steel Dynamics as well. Constellation Brands as well. Goldman Sachs. Interesting. There's quite a few good looking setups in here. So what are you guys doing today? What is y'all's plan for the day? Are you guys trading any of these earnings names today? I'm going to go ahead and get them up on my chart so that we have them. What are you thinking? Are you feeling like You feeling like there's any edge in any of these names? Or are you kind of just sitting on the sidelines feeling like you're going to wait it out and see what happens? I'm definitely a sidelines guy today. I'm not touching anything here. But it is going to be fun to watch. Because it does kind of feel, I don't know if you guys are getting this feeling, but it feels kind of like this is going to be a really make or break time. The way that the market responded to Fed yesterday was a little sketchy, right? The fact that they took March off the table is a little sketchy. There's a lot of smart people in the room kind of suggesting that perhaps it might be time to get a little defensive. At least that's the kind of rumblings that I'm hearing. Sideline creeper. That's what's up, Joe T. You're watching to see if you need to get out of TQQQ, Chris. I mean, this is going to be... this is going to affect that that particular ticker pretty profoundly, I would imagine. Pretty profoundly. Apple's 60% of your portfolio, and you loaded up on Amazon back in July and September. Meta, you've been in since 130. Nice. Let me make sure After Hours is turned on here. If you guys had to pick a winner in this race today, which one would you pick? Do you have a preference? Gary, you don't count. Amazon's your pick. Amazon is the one you're going with. Amazon's an interesting one. I mean, it's like, I know we talked about it already. But this is definitely of interest to me. Just hard to deny. It's hard to deny the point of control here. It's a lot of overhead pressure that it could really struggle with. Mark, you say Amazon? ST, you're saying Meta's the one of the three. So we got 5 for Amazon. That's kind of interesting. I could see that. I could see that. Let's check something real quick. Let's check and see if anything's come in. I'm just checking unusual options here using what's happening now. It's our little data flow tool. I just want to see if there's anything that is like big bets that have come in today. Definitely some over $500,000 bets. Here's one, 1.2 mil on the June 21 160 call. It's a bullish sweep out of the money, of course. That might be the biggest bet today. Oh, I thought I turned the vocals off. Let's try this again. There we go. All right, so biggest bet on Apple today in unusual options world that I can find is this guy right here. June 21st, 160 calls. So 8.3% of the open interest, 891 contracts for a grand total of 1.2 mil, just under 1.2 mil. You trimmed your retirement account several times. James, you say Apple's the horse? Is your horse in this race? See if analysts are saying anything right now. Probably going to get a lot of these upgrades, I guess, tomorrow. Just want to see if there's anything recent. We had one yesterday, or 2 days ago, from Wedbush for Apple. Take a look at Meta. Meta had one Tuesday, KeyBank. It's a really unbelievable recovery. I think that it's like almost perfect. It's like 60 weeks. 60 weeks to the downside, 60 weeks to get you back up to the all-time high. Something like that. 60, 62 weeks. Yeah. Wild. Meta seems cheap. Well, let's see if Meta is cheap. Have you played around with this? We just released it. PE ratio. Meta's current trailing PE ratio, 34.9 times earnings. Amazon's 74. 73.6. Apple at 30.1 or 30.7 rather, so about 31. For those of you who are not familiar, this is a brand new addition to the platform. So definitely Apple is the cheapest of the three. Meta there in the middle. If you have not, though, if you did not know that this was available, we do now offer PE ratios, and we've got two of them actually. So we've got the PE ratio, and then we've also got the PE ratio comparison. Let's let this bad boy load, and then we can kind of talk about it. Because PE ratio comparison is a little bit different. You can input your own companies into this and compare up to 5. So by default, it's preset to Microsoft, Apple, Google, NVIDIA, and Tesla. So you can kind of compare those those 5 companies against one another. If I am to look at let me see here. Oh, we're about 2 minutes away. This also includes what we call a base PE ratio. So whatever ticker you're on, the base is going to be that ticker. So then you can compare the ticker that you're looking at to the 5 that you have defined. I'm going to jump to these guys real quick because I want to make sure that we're watching whenever the news goes down. But we can jump back to PE ratios, and I will while we're waiting for this announcement, I will go grab some links for y'all so you have them. Of course, Gary. Of course, there's a blog post. I slaved on this blog. This one was a big one. Here you go, sir. And in the blog post, you will find the links to download the indicators, but I'll go ahead and link you anyway. Here is just the standard PE link, download link. And then here is PE ratio comparison. Hey, man, thanks for the kind words. We appreciate it. We definitely work hard. Glad that you, very glad that you appreciate it. hopefully the the iterations that we make and the changes that we make are all helpful. All right, so Amazon, first mover, Apple, second mover. Now, if memory serves, on Tuesday, Microsoft did something very similar, right? Microsoft ran initially and then immediately gave it all back. Google was just straight down. What's up, Harvell? Hope you're well today. So let's see here. Just want to see. Have they announced? Yeah, Amazon Q4 2023 EPS $1 beats 80 cents estimate. Sales of 170 billion beat 166.21 billion. Nice work, Amazon. Still no word from Meta yet. So a double beat from Amazon. Let's look at Apple. Have we gotten? Nope. No news yet from Apple. So maybe presumably Apple's moving because Amazon's moving. Apple starting to give back a little bit. But Amazon. Shoo. Well, of the three, Amazon, just based off of kind of the very, very simple analysis that we did, right? Of the three, Amazon had kind of priced in the potential for a move the least, which is pretty interesting. Oh, James, no. Call up Jeffrey Bezos and let him know. For everybody who is in Amazon, congratulations. Hopefully this move sticks for you guys. Let's see if we got anything from Meta just yet. Still nothing from Meta either. Amazon's certainly the laggard, just generally speaking, right? Everyone else had made an all-time high up by now. Smashing fences is bullish. If you're a fence repairman, there goes Meta. Holy moly. That is 3 big moves. Apple now giving back. Still nothing from Meta. Still nothing from Apple. Yeah, Meta jamming. 5% move so far. Or not 5%, sorry. What am I talking about? 5%. Well, yeah, 5%, right? 20 bucks. He certainly did. He certainly did, but he's got that compound. We were asking this question weeks ago. What does Zuck know? Maybe he just knows that he wants to buy a compound. Ooh, first ever dividend. Ah, Apple's at 230. Okay. All right, so Meta, EPS 533 beats 495 estimate. Sales 40.11 billion beat 39.17 billion. So that's what, like a 38 cent beat on earnings and about $1 billion beat on sales. Compare that to Amazon. Who had a 20-cent beat on earnings and a $4 billion beat on sales. Dang, dang, dang. Certainly not bearish. Gary, do you know what made them decide to do a dividend this quarter? And another question, there are quite a few of you guys here. Probably not going to hang out too much longer. I'll probably wait for Apple and see what the word is on Apple, and then we'll get out of here. In between now and then, is there anybody here who is like brand new to TrendSpider? Maybe you just signed up for an account, or you're thinking about signing up for an account. If so, please say hello. Binance with exchange rates. Auto exchange to X10 price on BTC ETH pair. Wow. The boys at Meta have cash. Apple's starting to sell off a little bit here. Amazon's starting to sell off a little bit here. Meta in max bid mode. What's up, TA? TA, are you new to TrendSpider? Or are you contemplating a TrendSpider account? If, ooh, team is the other big one. All right, we'll take a look at it. If any of you guys are who are tuned in are not yet TrendSpider traders, but you're interested in checking out the platform, I wanted to turn you guys onto this. We just launched a new option for you to give the product a try without too many strings attached. Awesome. Hulao. Great to meet you. Thank you for being here. As you're getting used to the platform and getting to know it, have you run into any questions that you have about it? Are you curious about anything? Is there anything that I can help you get to know a little bit better? Excuse me. Part of the reason why we do these office hours, it's fun to watch Ticker's earnings results, but really part of the reason why we do this, and the main reason why we do these things, Julao, is so that folks like yourself can ask questions about the platform. So I would love to be able to help you. If you have anything that you're curious about, I would love to show you around. What's up with team? Oh yeah, nice move on team after hours to 280, huh? Testing those old highs from August 2022. Okay, cool. Right on. I'm glad that that the boys over there in customer support have been helping you out. Awesome. For anybody who's tuned in who's not familiar, we do have a support team on hand all day, every day. Well, not all day, but most of the day, every day. Monday through Sunday, about 20 hours a day. During the week, about 8 hours a day on the weekend. We got live bodies in chat there to answer all of your questions, whatever they may be. So do not hesitate to hit them up via that contact us button in the bottom right-hand corner of your chart view here. You do not have to be a TrendSpider trader to ask them questions, though. If you just go to TrendSpider.com, you'll see a little chat box, and they are there to assist you. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see, Gary. I'm not going to lie. I don't know how long it's going to live, but we're testing it. There was somebody, I can't remember if it was in one of the live streams over the past couple of days or if it was in a presentation that I did earlier this week, but there's somebody asking about an option for trying the platform out. And so if you're here and that was you, now that option exists. Where do you download the bot's trade history other than in the screen? All of your trade, when you test a strategy. Oh, I'll just use a random thing. There it is, right here. So when you run a strategy, this little button that says trades pops up and you can download the test results right here. Is this what you're looking for, Julao? Hopefully. Nice, Chris. Hooked on the smart checklist? It's pretty intuitive, right? I mean, the fact that you can define a bunch of time frames, like there isn't the limitation of time frames there. You could go wild, dude. These guys are not giving back, is what it seems. Amazon staying strong, Meta staying strong. Now we just got Apple in about 15 minutes here. All right, Gary, great to see you. Holler if we can help with anything else. If you have any questions about the PE stuff, just hit me up. Apple's starting to extend a little bit. Chris, is there anything else you're curious about? No problem, Julao. Something cool that we got to get a little sneak peek of this afternoon is strategy testing multiple tickers at the same time. It's coming. I'm not going to say when that's coming because I really don't know, but we just got a little screen grab of what it's going to be looking like. It's pretty cool. Okay, Chris, right on. Well, if you think of anything, you holler at me and let me know. So right now, Julao, there's not a fixed schedule. I like to go live kind of whenever there's an event worth going live for. Just when I know people are going to be wanting to tune into something. So definitely whenever there's a big earnings day, I'm going to be live for it. Other than that, it's really just a couple of times a week, usually in the morning though. I try and do them in the morning, kind of like once the initial morning stuff has happened. So sometime around like 10:30 to 11:30 Eastern time, a couple of days a week. We're talking about implementing some kind of functionality on the platform that will alert you if you're like in the platform working. That will alert you to let you know that there's an office hour session live going on right now, so that you could just like click from the platform straight into YouTube. I don't know when something like that might get implemented. So in the interim, I would ask you to follow Chris's advice here and just turn on YouTube notifications, and then you'll know. But I try to do like 2 or 3 a week, and if there's not important fundamental stuff happening in the market, then it's just going to be kind of in that like early afternoon Eastern time period. What do we have coming up here? I actually don't even know, so I'm going to check and see earnings dates within the next 5 days. You got UPS coming. Oh, shoot. Within the next. Ooh, Mickey D's. You got AMZN. You got Bristol Myers. Regeneron. Lowe's. What do we have just tomorrow? We got the Chicago Board of Exchange. We got XOM and CVX tomorrow. Interesting. ABV tomorrow as well. And Cigna. Palantir on Monday, huh? Ah. Let's see where Amazon is. Oops. Back into those March highs, huh? Still a ways off the all-time high. We could check and see what's coming on Monday too. It doesn't work. Actually, let's make this 4 days. Yeah, so this would be everything that's Monday. So I don't know if you guys just see what I just did there, but this is an interesting way to utilize our scanner. I wanted to define that earnings were next Monday. And there's no way to say that, right? You can say X days ago, within the last X days, in X days, within the next X day. I guess I could have said in X days. Yeah, I could have done that too. I could have said earnings in 4 days, and then it would have given me Monday. I guess I did kind of do it a weird way. But what I defined it as said earnings reports within the next 4 days, and then I said none of the following earnings within the next day. So that would be tomorrow, and then you got Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, 4 days. So I said it's definitely not tomorrow, but it is within the next 4 days. I should have just said is in. And so on Monday, what do we got? Oh yeah, Palantir. Cat. Apple continuing to push higher despite no news yet. Quiet afternoon, you guys. Y'all are a quiet bunch today. Let's take a look at Apple. Oh, Gary. 7 days. Here, I'll show you. So again, I don't know how long this is going to be an offer, but 7 days, $29. So you can give it a go. Give it a little trial run. Definitely worth the cost if you're kind of on the fence and you don't really know. If you do know, though, I'm going to give you guys a little pro tip, a little alpha. If you do know that you want to sign up for TrendSpider and you want to take advantage of a little bit better deal than what you see here on the main website, I'm going to give you a little alpha. It's in the description of this YouTube video. All of these live videos, all of the office hours sessions. Check the description of the office hours session. Gary, if you end up, or Jerry, if you end up digging it, and you do want to go ahead and subscribe proper, before you do, come back to an office hour session, one of the videos, and look in the description. You can get you a hookup, a little bit better of a deal. And in the meantime, if you're curious about anything, you can feel free to hit me up too. If you have questions as you're, kind of figuring things out, trying to learn what's going on with the platform. You can hit up the guys in chat via the contact us button. You can hit me up on Twitter at Krutzky Trades. Julao. All right, Abec, we know. Put you in timeout for 24 hours. Abec. Julao, can you send me a strategy idea? You have no clue on how to script. So maybe someone... Yeah, send it here. What you got? What you thinking? Because we could talk through scripting for sure. You want to fade fast highs on a 30 candle range when there is a price versus MACD histogram divergence, and also one versus a MACD signal line. So you want to see divergence in the MACD signal and the price. You want to see divergence in MACD histogram and price. And you want to see price making a 30 candle range high. Yeah? Cool idea. All right, so I'm going to leave Apple up here so we can kind of keep an eye on it. We all know what's going on with those other guys. Actually, let me turn these back on. So we're going to talk through this, and then I'm probably going to jump. Turn all this stuff off. Just cleaning up my chart, making it so that we can see exactly what you're looking for. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is you want to define that range high, right? So you want to say price close greater than. Range can be, since we're talking about a series of candles with range, you could use, shoot, what do you call those things? Dungeon channels, right? Because that's just a range bands. But I'm just going to use the range indicator. So type in indicator or choose indicator and type in range and choose range high. Looks like we're getting some action here on Apple. So you got price close greater than range high, and you wanted a 30 candle range, right? And then the other thing that you want to do, and you can do this two ways. We want to not include this price or this candle, the one that we're defining that made the high. We're wanting to not include that in the 30 candle range, right? So you could do it one of two ways. You can offset this by saying one candle ago, or you can actually just change the offset within the indicator to 1. It's going to perform the exact same way. But right here, we've got price close greater than the range high of the past 30 candles. That's the first condition. So I'm going to show you something, Julao. The next thing that you want is you want to define that price is making a higher high, presumably, than while the signal line isn't, right? So we first need to define that price is making a higher high. So we've kind of done that already. I guess what we could really do if we wanted to is we could say something like this. We could say indicator MACD signal is less than indicator MACD signal. And you would have to define how many candles ago. So maybe it's 30, maybe it's 15. I don't know. This is where it gets a little tricky with divergences because you have to know the candle range that you're talking about for the divergence, right? Over the course of 30 candles, it might go higher, go lower, go higher, go lower, go higher, go lower. And so there are kind of ways that you can get around that too. And I'll show you one of them. One thing you can do is you can add a condition group, and I'm going to say the same thing. So I'm going to say indicator signal is less than indicator signal. Let's say maybe 10 candles ago. And then I could say happened within the past X candles, like the past 10 candles. So now you're giving it like a sliding range where you have a 10 candle divergence there on the signal line. Hopefully this is all making sense so far. If it's not, just let me know. And then the other thing that you want to do is you wanted to define the histogram. So it would be done essentially the same way. So you'd say histogram is less than indicator histogram for whatever X candles ago. So now we're saying that you've got a price making a 30 candle range high, while at the same time, within the past 10 candles, you've got the signal line being less than the signal line was 10 candles ago, and the histogram being less than the histogram was 10 candles ago. Is that making sense? Hopefully it's making sense. Apple's selling off here. Kind of interesting. Now from here, we're not going to test this because I don't know what your exit is. But what I can do here is, and this is going to be true across all of the scripting tools on TrendSpider, you can take a script that you write in this case, in the strategy tester, and you can save it as a script. So instead of saving it as like this entry condition for your strategy, we can save it as just simply a script. So I'm going to say save as template. And we're going to call this, I'm going to title this Julao's divergence script, right? And say save. Now that it's saved in my script manager here, I can send it places. So I can share it with you, and I'll do that too. But before I share it, I want to make sure it's actually what you're looking for. So I could take it and I can send it places. So if I go send to, I can send it to the market scanner. And it's going to load those same exact conditions into the market scanner for me, even though I made them in the strategy tester. Now, maybe you're not looking for this on the 1 minute time frame. Presumably you might not be. I don't know. But I'm going to change this to like the 15. And I'm going to turn the current candle toggle on. And I'm going to give it a bigger list. Because first off, I want to see if it finds anything. And whatever it finds, I want to make sure that it's actually what you're after. All right. So, new 30 candle high. And some divergence, right? On your MACD and your signal. But maybe not exactly what you're after. But maybe. Is this, Julao, is this kind of looking like what you're looking for? Is there anything about this that looks wrong to you? If there's something about it that looks wrong, what looks wrong? In theory, it could be the rate at which the MACD is declining. It's one way. It could look wrong. Perhaps the how far above this new high we are could be looking wrong to you. But this is generally kind of, I think, what you're after. You may want to take this a step farther and like define that the signal is above the MACD line, maybe. Maybe you want to change NSC. All right, let's see. Okay, cool. So then you tell me, Julao, is this shareable for you? Do you feel like you understand how I did that? And do you feel like you understand kind of what these settings are controlling? Specifically, you know, you could come in here and you could say, instead of the signal line right now is less than the signal line was 10 candles ago, you can make it 20 or 15 or 5 or whatever. And you could even like stair step that. You could say right now is less than it was 5 candles ago. 5 candles ago is less than it was 10 candles ago. Like you could make it more thorough if you wanted to. But if you feel like this gives you kind of the start of what you're looking for and you want to play around with this, then I'll just send you this. Fade if it's not more than 5% higher than the previous high. Okay, so then you would say greater than range high. That's interesting. Let me think about this. What we could do, here's what we'll do. We're going to add another condition group. Let's see. And was it going to say price, 15-minute close, greater than, range high. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try it. Range high of 30 candles with a 1 offset. By at least 5%, and I'm going to say none is true. So I'm saying that it's greater than the range high of the past 30 candles, but it's not greater than 5% above. So I'm using this none of the following definer. Let's see. The thing to understand about range, like this is a good example. If you're looking back 30 candles, you're starting here and looking back 30, right? So what, this far? You're counting from this candle, which has a high. It made a 30 candle range high too, right? This one made a 30 candle range high, and then this one made a 30 candle range high. So it's something to kind of like keep in the back of your mind, right? Because in some cases, you're going to have stuff that looks like this. Oops, this. Where it's just like, this is 30 candle range high. This is. Each one of these candles is a 30 candle range high. Whereas with Walmart, no, Walmart did too. Yeah, so like this is your first 30 candle range high in quite some candles. So there's 16 candles there. So it's just things to think about, you know? What I'm going to do, I'm going to send you this. I'm going to call this say save. And I'm going to say share. Share this scanner. hook you up with this link. Here you go, sir. Hopefully that's helpful for you. Any last minute questions? I'm going to get on out of here. What is Apple up to? Sold off. Greater China sales down almost $3 billion year over year. Apple Q1 Europe's, where's the American sales? 50.42 billion, up from 49.27 billion year over year. Services net sales 23.11 billion versus 22.31 billion prior. EPS beat $2.18. Beat the 210 estimate. iPhone net sales 69.7 billion versus 43.8 prior. Dang. Smoking iPhone sales. You're so welcome. How about where there's a kangaroo tail in the last candle? What's a kangaroo tail? Tell me what a kangaroo tail is, because I honestly do not know. I've never heard of that before. Presumably it's a candle type. Let's see. I wonder if that's in our candle patterns. No, it's not. Oh, is this specifically a Forex thing? Okay, so the way that you would do this, Julao. Oh no, what happened? All right, so Julao. Let's talk through this really quick. And then we'll get on out of here. Remember, this is just price pattern, right? All candles are price patterns. So you would want to define the price pattern. And presumably, if you have a long tail, either above or below, and you have really tight price action, then you just need to define where the open and the close is relative to one another. And you need to define where the higher the low is relative to the open and close. So I'm going to create something new here and just say like price, whatever, 15-minute open is within range of price 15-minute close. And maybe we want it to be like 0.001 or something, like very tight range. And you can define this whatever you want, a 1. And then you would just want to define, you could define whether it's bullish or bearish by defining the open greater than the close or the open less than the close, right? So we'll say price open is greater than price close. So this, we're going to define a red candle here. And then we want to say price high is greater than price, whatever, close or open, either or. And then we'll say by at least, and I don't know, I'll say like 0.5. Let's see if we get anything. There's very specific conditions. And it's pretty large. Let's make this 0.1 instead of 0.5. Yeah, that's not quite what we're looking for. What you might want to do is you might want to search our candle patterns for kind of the closest thing to a kangaroo. Because I'm sure that there's something in here that's close, like maybe a gravestone, doji, or something like that. And then you can come in and you can define a candlestick pattern. And there's a ton of them in here. I'm not even familiar with like every last one, but Hanging Man kind of sounds like what you're after. I don't know. You may just need to kind of look through these and find the one that is best fit for the kangaroo. Anywho, hopefully that's helpful for you. I'm going to get out of here. It has been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you guys this afternoon. Thank you so much for being with me. Again, if you're interested in trying out TrendSpider, we do have that option for you now. 7 days, $29. And again, if you are ready to take the plunge, if you are right on the fence, just about to sign up for a TrendSpider account, take advantage of the deal that is in the description of this video. Y'all have a great rest of the week. Tomorrow's Friday. And then we have a nice little weekend ahead of us. I hope you guys have enjoyed hanging out. I've enjoyed hanging out with you. I will be back again on probably Monday, Tuesday to do this again. So hopefully I'll see some of y'all when that time comes. Awesome, Julao. Right on. Glad we could get you all learned up today. That's what this show is really all about, is helping you guys gain a better understanding of how to use this amazing tool. So until next time, have a great weekend. Holler at me if you need me. You guys have my Twitter handle, so feel free to reach out if you need anything. And I'll see y'all next week. All right.